my YouTubing friends, here we are again in the wettest day. You know, when you just, beggars can't be choosers, and the only day you've got to look at a bike is going to be pouring rain, and you look at the weather forecast, you think, oh god. But it did actually stay dry, the ground was soaking wet, and I decided to come out anyway, be damned with it. So where am I? So I'm out in Sussex again, but I'm on the Enfield Guerrilla, or what you want to call it, because it's Enfield are doing funny things with the names, aren't they? The Guerrilla, they've all got some sort of firearm relation to it, you know, armed guerrillas and hunters and shotguns, but there you are. Anyway, so I wanted to get out on this bike, have a look at it, see what the difference is between this and the Himalayan, if it's a bike you're thinking of buying, because it's new to the market and people are very interested in it. So we'll do our usual thing, have a talk about the bike, do some riding, and there's some interesting comparisons with the two bikes, so let's see where we go. Right, here we are then. I knew I'm going to get there any sooner or later. The weather is atrocious today, so I've hidden under this tree. It looks like I might have a half-hour gap in the rain. So Enfield Guerrilla. How do they spell gorilla when it's like gorilla, isn't it? It's not like gorilla as in the monkey, is it? It's not a monkey, primate, but it's another sort of gorilla. Is it like a fighting gorilla? Anyway, hopefully you can hear me over the noise of the cars behind me, because I think a lot of cars are coming in the back. Anyway, let's get on with it. So the Guerrilla, this is quite an interesting bike, isn't it? So it's the second bike using the Sherpa platform, which, you know, in my mind, that the Sherpa, when I tested the Himalayan, I thought of all the new sort of 400, 450 bikes that had come out in this period, this was the strongest of them all. And certainly in the Himalayan, and the one that I tested had been pretty well run in, I thought that was a really strong engine, really good. But it did have a bit of vibration on there, which I mentioned in the episode, so go back and watch that one. I'll see if I can work out how to put the little box up so you can click on that. But the Guerrilla then, I find this a bit of a confusing bike. So confusing might be a too strong a word, but where this actually sits within the market, because I always assumed that Enfield were going to bring out a Scram, sort of replacement for the Scram using that Sherpa platform. And this isn't that, is it? This is not a scrambler type bike. I don't really know what you call this. Street bike? Is that a real thing? But you can see the DNA of the Himalayan within it. But there are some subtle differences in the suspension setup, and also that you might have noticed in the 40s to 60s that I've done, that the gearing appears different. The gearing's a bit taller, to the point where I didn't bother doing the 40-60 in top gear because it just wouldn't want it. It was really going to struggle, whereas the Himalayan pulled really strongly in sticks from 40 to 60, and so I'm sure this is geared slightly differently. So it'll have slightly longer legs, I think, than the Himalayan, which is, you know, I suppose it's understandable really, because the Himalayan was really built as an adventure bike. This is more for your sort of street and doing a bit of not touring, but a bit of street and a lot more road work, let's say. So while I'm blithering away inanely and you're already turning off this video, I thought it would be easier just to explain this bit on the road. So the gearing is different on this, and the dealer did say to me that they have changed the sprocket on these. So I suppose you might call it your final drive is different. And I certainly noticed that with the 40s, 60s in top. On the Himalayan, which the bike is built more for off-road really, 40 to 60, it was almost chugging to the point where it's going to conk out. So it just means that you adapt your riding style and the way you use the gears more. And I like the gearing on Enfields anyway, as I've said many times before. I think they always get it right. But this also has 17-inch wheels, so that will affect the rolling gearing, if you like, on this bike. So yeah, that was I was quite surprised by that, to see how different it was. So the 4060s in 4th and 5th were great. In 4th, I mean, this engine still pulls like an absolute train.
and it's still got that lovely grunt and roar to it, which I really like. I know I likened it to an old Ford Escort when I had it, and people were quite surprised at that, but it's got that real guttural, deep down response to it. I really enjoyed. But I also wonder whether changing the gearing has affected the vibration so much, because you're not revving so high if you like cruising speeds, motorways possibly, so that will have an effect on the vibration, because it's not going to be so intense, and high, the frequency is not going to be so high. So maybe that it may be an inadvertent effect on that, or it's a deliberate to do that, because the vibration had been picked up by a lot of people, and I certainly noticed it. I think, as I said in my Himalayan review, that I could still feel the vibration a half hour after getting off the bike. That was just me though, that may be peculiar to me, but I certainly think it was an issue. But on this bike, didn't have that, although I wasn't doing a lot of high speed riding on this, because of the weather and all the rest of it. I didn't push it so much. But let's have a look at those 40 to 60s, and I've let the sound go as it is, but yeah, really nice acceleration. Right, fourth gear, 40 to 60 first. Let's see how we get on with that. Yeah, that end is such a great sound. I love that sound. It's really good. Goes right through you. Right, fifth gear, 40 to 60. You've still got plenty of pull in fifth, but I think you are, compared to the Himalayan, that's sort of where you were in sixth on there. So, you know, there is a gearing difference in this bike, and then maybe also say 17-inch wheels are making quite a difference as well to how this bike rolls in each gear. But if you've never ridden the Himalayan, you won't know any different really at the end of the day. And this bike will just be, you know, as it is on its own. It's fine, the gearing's fine, but it is lower geared, without doubt. Higher geared, lower geared. Yes, you've definitely got an extra gear in that sixth. Let's put it that way. You'll spend a lot of time in fifth on this, and then sixth when you're cruising on motorways or dual carriageways, which is nice. It's always nice to have an extra gear, and Enfield always gear their bikes really well. So yeah, no issue with the gearing whatsoever on this bike. And certainly that engine has still got all the grunt that I remember from the Himalayan, and it's really nice. It's the sort of bike that you're going to do a lot of quick pull-aways from traffic lights, I think, just to hear that sound, because it's different to anything else. None of the other single pot bikes I've ridden have got that sort of real guttural grunt to them. Really nice. Which makes you feel that the engine's really strong. I know that is totally unscientific, which most of my things are when I say them, but it just feels really strong, the engine, really strong. Gives you a lot of faith in it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. We'll head back for a more detailed look around the bike and chat about it. I must apologise for the red jacket, because it seemed to be confusing my camera enormously. I don't know why, because it made my face wash out and all the rest of it, so it was really weird, but it was so wet, so I had no choice but to get this old waterproof out. But my apologies for that. I'm trying to correct it as best I can in the post editing, but you have to live with it. Sorry about that.
So let's have a closer look then. A lot of things people will find quite familiar. It's a sort of stripped out Himalayan really, but there are some differences. What I did like about it was the height of this, and you don't need to put a tail tidy on this, because I think that's really good. They thought about those things, and you don't need to do it. The exhaust is slightly different. Obviously the tank, I love these shoulders. I just like these shoulders. I'll just show you that back view, because that's pretty good, isn't it? I like that. That's really nice. We get the LED lights. These are all really nice, aren't they? Front profile. Yeah, it's not a small bike. You feel like you've got quite a substantial bike underneath you. The dash is the same as the Himalayan, and you've got connectivity, and you can put your navigation on it and all the rest of it. So that's really nice, and I like this. I like the way they've done that, and it's a really clear screen as well. So thumbs up with that. I'd like to see that on a few more bikes. Again, brake wise, I really do think that Enfield have cracked it with their brakes, because this, again, in similar parlance to my Hunter, is a really efficient front brake, and it's to do with the lever as much as anything. It's a good sized lever. You know, if your lever was that long, if it came out here, you know how much mechanical advantage you have, and this is really, really good. So, and it's got plenty of feel to it. And the same with the clutch. The clutch is lovely. You know, it is a cable operated clutch. It's not hydraulic, but it's, you know, nice and easy to use. This is one of those bikes, again, which I got onto and had no issue immediately. There was nothing to think about. It was all easy, really, really easy. Another thing I did just notice on the clutch, you know, you've got nice weather sealing and things like that, which is good. They're little things, but they're quite important. Tyre sizes, what have we got on here? I'm going to try and do this without my my glasses. It's a 17 front, so it's the same as the Hunter. So yeah, these again are, I would say, are the Seats on here. You know when you do stuff with your glasses on? Yeah, Seat tyres. I've had mixed feelings about the Seats. I had to change them on my Interceptor, but these obviously are slightly more chunky profile on here. So, you know, not quite so road biased, but I think they'd be pretty good. They look the part, don't they? I'd like to know how much these cost if you bought them separately from the bike. One thing I did notice on this though was it has quite a lumpy idle, and if I start this up, it's nice that dash, isn't it? So once it's settled, actually on the road, can you see that? It's quite lumpy. Now that might be because this has only got 720 miles on it, and it needs running in, and it's probably getting ready for its, well, it's probably had its first service. But I thought that was a bit lumpy for me. You can see it drop up, down. Be interested to know whether anybody else has had that problem. But there, you see what I mean? You know, that's a fueling issue, you know. And I did notice also that the throttle at low speed, first gear, second gear, it's quite jumpy. These fly-by-wire throttles can be indifferent at best, I think, at times. I'm trying to think if there's any bike I've ridden with him that was really good. Actually, the Speed 400 was pretty good. And I seem to remember the Himalayan was good, but this is a little bit jumpy at low speed. And apart from that, it's a nice broad seat, that's comfy, and as we've already seen, you know, the height of it. One thing I did notice on it, hopefully you can see it in the dark, is that again we've got the braided hoses here, but they actually go to the end. Oh, hang on, not quite, but that's a slightly better effort than ones I've seen already. But why put it there and not put it up here? Because this can't cost a lot of money, can it? It's an odd, I don't know, I mean, even Honda are doing it. You know, the Honda, if you remember the NX I had, that the actual braiding ended about 3 inches from the end. But yeah, very, very peculiar, that. The other thing I like about Enfield is the positivity of the gearboxes. If you watched my GSX review the other day, you'll notice how sloppy this was. Well, this is great, and they're really positive Enfield gearboxes, and when you get to the end, into top, you can't go any further. You know you've got to the end. On that GSX, and so I've had it on the BSA, you can still keep going, which is really annoying. You think, have I got another gear? No. But overall, I think it is actually a really nice piece of kit. I like the colouring. I like what they've done with the styling. And obviously there will be, you know, accessories that will go onto this bike. And that's the nice thing with Enfield, isn't it? You get a lot of accessory options which come on aftermarket stuff. Really good.
So there are some other subtle differences between this and the Himalayan. So suspension wise, you get the shower set up. I think it's slightly different to the Himalayan. Maybe it's got more basic setup, but you do get showers on here, which is really nice to see. And I had no complaints about it. The damping was fine, all more than adequate. And this road was covered in diesel and it didn't slip slide, or had no fear about it at all. The other thing you get difference on this bike, on the base model, you only get the shotgun analog clock, which is actually really nice. It wouldn't bother me at all. On the higher models, obviously you get the integrated dash, so you can connect your phone to it and all the rest of it, which is lovely. But the suspension wise, great. Even on little rumble bits it was great, but on these lovely long speed humps it was fine. The other interesting thing was the seat, which I do mention briefly at the end. The seat profile has got it's almost like a mini backrest when you sit on it. You can feel it because it in the top of your backside. It's really nice. I actually really enjoyed that. So we're going to have a bit more of a walk around, but suspension wise, excellent, no issues at all.
So, do I actually like this bike? Is it a bike that I would think, would I sell my Scram to get one of these? To be honest, no. And I think the reason for that is I think the Scram feels its own little niche in the market at the moment, and I'll be really sad when that bike goes out of production, because I think that's serving its own little world. That bike, and when I get onto that Scram, how much I really enjoy it. Even though I know that it's got way less power than this, I actually feel that I've got a little bit of off-road capability and nice on-road capability, but it could do with that little bit of extra power. So who are they going for with this? I really do think this is actually aimed at the Indian market, which most of Enfields are. But I really think this is really an Indian market bike. I think it would do okay here, but I think on price, the little bit extra that the Street 400 is, I think that will outperform this, and I'll be really interested to see the sales figures on that. I don't know what other people think, but I think that some of the problems that Enfield will have is that you've got the Hunter, which is their best-selling bike, which I absolutely love, which you know, and I've got the bike. I wouldn't change the Hunter for this either. I still think the Hunter, the appeal of the Hunter is that it's got that real classic styling, which I like. The Interceptor, this has got not that dissimilar power to the Interceptor really. And I remember riding the original, the new Himalayan, and thinking, wow, this could give my Interceptor a run for its money. Acceleration wise, so they're cool, aren't they? If you made a bike, say the Hunter, you put this engine in the Hunter, then you're going to take sales away from the Hunter and the Interceptor. So what manufacturers don't want to do is compete with their own product, because it comes tricky. If you look at, say, Honda will have they got the NX500, they got the Transalp, and then they got the Africa Twin. So they got three bikes in there, not compete with each other, but it's a natural progression from one to the next, as you progress through your riding skills, I suppose, or what you want. So this, because those bikes are so close, you've got 350, 450, and 650, with the top two of that having very similar performance, albeit doing it in a different way in a twin and a single. I think they had to make this bike very different, very distinct from those two models. So I'm not sure where this is going to fit in the UK market. I don't think it's going to do as well as people think. I think it's a great bike, and if you buy it, I think you'll love it. But I think it won't do as well as you think in the UK. I think Triumph have muddied the waters a little bit by increasing the price of the Speed by £200. If the Speed was still 4,995, I think this would really struggle. But we shall wait and see how that pans out, really.
Right, that's me heading back before the heavens open again. I can't believe I missed the rain. I really can't believe it. So a couple of things learning points from this episode. Never use red as your clothing. But apart from that, yeah, the bike was really nice, and it was enjoyable to ride. It would have been much nicer in nice weather in it. But I think if you can enjoy something like this in really crappy weather, then it's going to be good whatever weather you ride it in it, really, I always think. Use your things in the most adverse conditions, because you know it's going to be brilliant when outside of that. So I shall head this back over those bumps again. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, remember to subscribe, and I never say this, but it does make a difference, doesn't it? Click the like. Don't click the dislike. If you dislike it, don't click anything. If you like it, click the like. I think it makes a difference, but I'm not really sure yet. And I will see you in the next video. Some more stuff coming up. I'm off to India at the end of September, so I'm hoping to ride a few more Enfields and chilling around. That's not what we're going there for. It's actually our honeymoon, but we should get a little bit of filming done out there while we're out there, because we're there for a couple of weeks. So take care, everybody. Hope the weather improves, and I will see you in the next episode. Ride safe. Take care, everybody.